So, to introduce you, this is going to be, I think, definitely my first episode that I'm recording with a coaching session with James, and he's my son. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, and so let us begin. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually a lot better now than I was the other day. I don't know. I feel like I'm more calm, I guess, after having like aired out all of my thoughts. It kind of took the burden off of keeping them like in the back of my mind. So I just felt like I like yesterday and today, I feel like I was a lot more clear-minded than I have been.
So,
Yeah.
what you are saying is you are more clear-minded from because we talked like a few days ago, and you were able to unburden yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And how are you feeling now when you say, I feel a lot better? Describe that to me.
I guess I feel like I know what my priority is right now. And usually I kind of feel guilty whenever I decide to pick, any one thing as my priority, whether that's like my health or like my career or whatever it is. I always kind of feel guilty that the other ones are not my main focus. But I guess the last 2 days, I've kind of been like, okay, I know that I have my doctor's appointment scheduled, so I don't have to worry about that right now. I know that I have like, I'm just kind of able to like, I was just kind of able to like yesterday and today focus on, uh, yesterday was being with my friends. I was just focused on that. I wasn't so worried like, oh my God, like us hanging out is like cutting down on my productivity. Um, I was just able to enjoy it. And then today I was even more focused on like work and like starting to put together demo reel material. And it didn't feel like I was uh, neglecting something else by just focusing on that. I was able to kind of do it guilt free and enjoy it.
I heard the word like, I don't feel guilty, or the word guilty.
Mm.
Tell me about that.
Um, I guess I feel like because my mind is so all over the place and because it's so hard for me to like accomplish tasks, I always feel like I'm behind on everything that I want to do or even need to do. So it's like gotten to a point now where I feel like there's so much that I'm behind on, just like abstractly in the back of my mind, that focusing on any one thing never feels like I'm doing enough because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm focusing on this one thing, but what about the 10 other things? And most of the time I just end up like getting paralyzed with like guilt of not knowing which to start first or like what is most important. And then I just kind of like that snowballs.
Okay, firstly, when you say behind, do you have a specific timeline in the day that you set for yourself?
No, I try to, but it, I'm not always able to stick to my routine.
So, how can you define behind if you don't even have a timeline?
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that. It kind of gets, I guess, paralyzing to think about creating the timeline even. So it's like paradoxical because it's like, oh, I'm so, uh, like anxious because I'm behind, but then trying to plan it makes me even more anxious.
So, here's my thing. And you said that, oh, it's even like I can't even create the timeline because it's just like too much for me.
Hmm.
So here's my suggestion. When you create a timeline for your day, because you don't know what time you're going to sleep, what time you're going to wake up, you do it per hour.
Interesting. How so?
Hour one, hour two,
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
hour three. So if I wake up at 1 o'clock, my hour one is 1 to 2. My hour two is 2 to 3. My hour three is 3 to 4.
Hmm.
So if you wake up at 10, then your hour one is at 10.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then you're not crunching yourself saying, oh my God, I should have woken up at 8. It's now 11:30. I missed 3.5 hours, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 3.5 hours. Now I'm going to be unproductive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you create a timeline for yourself. It will be better if you write it down so you have a visual of it. But if you want to just keep it in your head, if you are that good, then that's fine. If you're able to keep that discipline, I like writing it down. It's totally up to
Mhm.
you, whatever your style is. But you just do hour 1, hour 2, or hour 1, or by tasks. You
Yeah.
list down the task and then you say 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So you can keep track of the task without a specific time connected to it.
hmm
So that when you wake up, it doesn't matter what time you wake up, you still get to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's the way I try to do it in my head. And then it's just a matter of forgetting to write the tasks down. Yeah.
How do you set, how can you hold yourself accountable to what task it is that you want to do for the next day? So I guess basically planning your day the next day. How do you do that?
I'm gonna take a bite of cereal. I guess I don't really have an effective system right now because I've tried like to-do lists, but then I'll forget to, update and check them. So I tried like a calendar. It's like more in front of me every day. But I still don't see it. So I have yet to really like alarms. That's kind of like the thing that works kind of, is if there's something that's really important, like submitting my timesheet, I'll set an alarm. I don't always do it when the alarm rings, but at the very least, I've come to expect the alarm. But I don't really have a foolproof method for planning. Yeah, I'm able to forget most things.
So can I share what I do? And I'm not sure if it's going to work for you. I just want to share it so that you can have like a different perspective, or maybe it can spark something in you that might work for you. So I do use Outlook. I mean, that's required at work. That's the application that we use. What I do is I flag things that I need to do. And then when I flag it, it goes to my to-do list. It doesn't have it doesn't have a deadline. It just goes to a to-do list. So every day I would just check on what do I need to do. And then once I've done it, I remove the flag and then it goes away from my to-do list. So it's a matter of, like, I guess, prioritizing. I trust me, I have like probably 40 on my to-do list. Because there are things that I don't really need to act on, but I want it in my to-do list because just so I could see it when I need it. But there are things that, like schedule this meeting or follow up with a vendor or email this person or respond to this person or, like make contact, catch up. So I have all that. I have a to-do list. And then it just gets taken out once I've done it. It's not a specific day. It's not a specific time. But every day I check that to-do list. What do I need to do today? So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. I like the functionality of the to-do list. If I can just figure out, like, I guess, because also I don't have a set routine for my day. Sometimes I work off my phone or off my computer. Sometimes at home. Sometimes I'm at a cafe. It's hard for me to have like a consistent place where my list is. Cause it'll be like, I have like many different to-do lists, basically. I have like one on my phone, one on my laptop, like a physical one.
Is there an app that you do on your phone that will also sync on your laptop?
Yes, Notes. I use Notes. And I have also multiple to-do lists on my Notes.
Does Notes have the capacity to like a list with the check boxes? Oh, they do. I have never used it because I use reminders.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah.
Because with the reminders, there's also an alarm that you can create.
Oh, yeah. I used reminders for a while too.
Because that's where I put all my to-do list, and then I do like monthly or recurring reminders. Like I do it for like facial or clean the bathroom.
Mm. Maybe if
So
I have like a recurring alarm just to check the to-do list. Yeah, that might be helpful.
you want to create that right now.
Sure. I don't know what time of day though. That's always also my problem.
Well, what time are you awake?
Um, Usually around 9:30, I'm able to like finally sit down and do stuff. I did 8:30 from Sunday to Thursday will be designated errand time.
So that works. So I'd like to go back to when you said you feel guilty. So where is that guilt coming from?
I think it comes from just like expectations of myself that I put on myself. And then like when I don't meet my own expectations, I feel like I'm wasting my own potential, or like I feel like I'm like letting myself down, disappointing myself. Yeah, I definitely feel like I have this burden to succeed, in order to like justify the support I've received, or like to justify oh, like my peers or like my community has invested so much in me, like my family has helped me so much. So if I don't give it my all every single day, then I'll just like have wasted their time. Like that kind of like thinking.
So if you don't do your to-do list,
Yeah.
you feel guilty that you disappointed your community.
Yeah. Or whoever, like, whatever.
Yeah.
It varies depending on the task.
Oh, okay. Okay. So depending on the task, I was thinking like, okay, you didn't get to do your laundry today, then it means you disappointed who?
Myself, definitely. That is like a bad one for me. I'm really bad at doing my laundry because it always feels like I'm behind on my laundry. That's like a big physical representation of my mental state. Yeah, because especially with my skin issues, I have to wash everything regularly. So like my towels, I have to wash once a week. My sheets, I have to wash like twice a week. And so even that already like consumes time and mental space. So then the thought of doing my laundry becomes like this, or has become in my head, this kind of like unwinnable battle. I know I'm gonna have to do laundry for the rest of my life, but it's the worst.
So I guess I picked a sore example, like that laundry.
Yeah.
It was just an example. I didn't mean it to become like, the topic, but now that we're on it, and I didn't realize that
Yeah.
it is a thing for you. So
Like
you're
my
saying,
big heel.
yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to ask is, so you're saying that doing the laundry is something that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And why is that?
It's not even that, like when I'm doing it, I'm fine. It's like, it's nice. But like the thought of starting to do it is so like daunting because I know that one, there's a lot to do. Two, I can't multitask, which goes back to like the guilt thing of focusing on one thing at a time. And three, I'm gonna have to do it again. There's like, it just becomes like this tumor of negativity that before I even start the laundry, I have to unpack that knot of thoughts.
Okay, you said the number three is it was easier for me to pick on. You have to do it again.
Yeah.
Right. Well, cooking is like that. You have to do it again.
Yeah. I've started losing joy in that too.
Okay.
I'm trying to rediscover the joy in these things. I guess with cooking, I've kind of had to because of the gluten-free thing. I kind of now have to cook everything. And actually I'm realizing there's like a lot of things that I feel like I lost the rhythm of doing them, like cooking. And then also I'm like rediscovering like writing, screenwriting. And in my head, I kind of thought like, oh, well, I haven't done it in so long. I kind of don't really enjoy it anymore. I probably wouldn't be that good at it. But now that I'm starting to cook a lot more often, I'm realizing, oh, wait, no, I do enjoy this. It's just that those like neural pathways were turned off. And so I had forgotten how good it feels to use that. I had kind of just accepted the degradation of my brain. And even though starting is like the hardest part, once I've actually started, being able to keep up the momentum is actually much easier than starting from zero. The same thing goes with working out. I find that when I take like more than 2 or 3 days off, going back is much harder. But once I'm there, it's like, oh, this is fun. I like this. This makes me feel better. Yeah, it's just the task initiation is so hard for me.
It just reminded me, like, I feel like that every morning. Like, oh, like I have to go to work. I have to get up. I have to get dressed. I have to drive. I have to go through traffic. I have to put on makeup, you know. But once I'm inside the office, like physically, literally in the office, I'm like, oh my God, I love what I do.
Mm.
It's just like the getting there.
Yeah.
So going back to your laundry, and you said, you know, it's just something that you don't like doing because there's just so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
I guess just like the literal process of laundry taking so much time, and then, you know, folding it. I don't know what it is, but on days where I'm like in a rut, which is like maybe 50, 60% of the time, every little action feels like so monumental. Even like, okay, I'm in my room, the pile of laundry's in front of me, I have my hanger in my hand, my TV's on, I'm on, you know, Hulu trying to pick what to watch, but picking what to watch is like so monumentally like difficult. I can't figure out what I'm interested in watching, so I can't fold my clothes, and I therefore can't do this whole, you know, task just because I couldn't pick what to watch. It could be like something like that. So it's not even like a logical thing sometimes. It's truly just, there's like resistance between my brain and my body. Like my brain is sending out all these signals and my body feels like it's being told to self-destruct.
If you're hearing this from a friend, what would you tell them?
I feel you. I understand. I don't know. It's been like my biggest crux lately of just like, why is it so difficult to just do anything? You know, it's not always like this, but when on the days that it's like this, it's like, it's really bad. You know, it could take me 2 hours just to like get up out of my bed. Yeah.
Do you know where it's coming from?
I definitely feel like it's one of my neuro things. I don't know which. I definitely know that on days when I get rest and I'm able to wake up early and feel well rested, I have a much higher success rate on those days. Flow state, I learned that word recently, where you're just able to get into like a flow state of like doing things you finish and then you're on to the next. On days where I'm able to like sleep well and wake up early, those are my flowiest days. And then if I'm not able to sleep well, which I would say is 90% of the time, it's like a dice roll how well I'll feel that day. Maybe sleep, I would say, is like the one biggest like indicator. I would say sleep.
I think it goes with a lot of people. If they don't get sleep, they get cranky.
Yeah.
But because you get it a lot more often than other people, you get to that state where it just breaks up everything else.
Yeah.
You know what the people who can relate to you, new parents.
Yeah.
Those who have a newborn, because they only get like spurts of 2 hours of sleep. And then if they have colic kids babies who just nonstop crying, they would probably get like an hour of sleep here and there.
Yeah.
And it turns them into like a zombie. It's like, it's just so hard to function without much sleep. And when you say you have it 90% of the time, now you think that you are just failing yourself, not thinking that your lack of sleep is what is making you like that. And you start getting hard on yourself,
Yeah.
thinking that you're the only one who does that.
Yeah. I definitely have that problem.
But it's actually not just you. Any normal human being who wouldn't be able to sleep gets into a cranky state, gets into like a not a normal day because of that lack of rest.
Yeah. And I think I'm also not able to recognize when I'm tired. So sometimes I like, someone said something once where it's like, if you ever feel like, you hate the world, eat something. If you ever feel like you hate yourself, just go to sleep. And those are the two things I always forget, where I'm like, oh, why am I so angry? And it's like, oh, I haven't eaten anything today. But I'll realize like an hour later, or like I'll hate on myself the whole day. And then, after the end of the day, after I've already like gone down this spiral, I'll realize like, oh wait, I didn't really sleep well last night. So I never like put it together in the moment. It's always like after the fact. It's like, oh, I wonder if that was it. Yeah. Not good at those. I'm not good at those daily habit things. It's like sleeping and eating. Checking my to-do list. Yeah.
Maybe is that something that you need to add in your daily reminder?
To sleep and eat? I used to schedule it in my calendar. Maybe it'll help if I do it again. The difficult thing is the sleep, because I can set up the perfect conditions and then lie there for like 4 hours. So it's not as foolproof.
Well, it's something now that you have your insurance that you can look into on how they can help you.
Number one priority right now.
Speaking of clarity, you said, after we spoke, I think it was like Thursday, you had clarity and you're inspired and motivated and you started doing things. So what are the other things that you were able to either like get inspired or found clarity or had a spark of an idea since we spoke?
You were talking about being vulnerable, and I've been thinking a lot about that too, because I definitely I've noticed in myself recently that sometimes I'll just lie out of habit about myself, how I was doing, or like what I did, what I did that day. I'll lie to make myself sound more, productive or more relatable or more whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why I do it. And I guess I realized after we had a conversation that I think it's like a vulnerability thing, that because I've already been in the mindset of judging myself, I already feel like anything I tell them, they're going to judge me too, because I judge me. So I guess after our conversation, I kind of realized like that's not the case. Like when other people, are vulnerable with me, or just vulnerable in general, I feel like that's a really beautiful and commendable thing. It's just that I don't grant myself that same grace, but it is really tiring and not, it's not fair to me to be carrying the assumed, burdens of other people of like, oh, like if I tell them this about myself, they're going to feel this kind of way, or they're going to like feel like, oh, I have to help this guy. Like I'm just making that up in my head, and I'm sheltering myself for, this unseen attack that might not even happen. This is like a tangent, but the winner of the most recent season of RuPaul's Drag Race, Sasha Colby, is like my favorite queen to ever have been on Drag Race. She's like and what I loved most about her, and I think what everyone loves about her, is how vulnerable and caring and genuine she is with everyone around her. Like during the competition, even to her competitors, she always extended like patience. She was never like, they regarded her as like a goddess. From like the moment she walked in, everyone knew who she was. Everyone knew that they would probably lose. And still she never let that, go to her head, she'd always, listen to people and extend kindness, and also, just be very open about her emotions and what she's gone through and how she was feeling in every moment. And standing up for herself, knowing that she was worthy of being respected as a person. Just everything. Just like, I wanted to, I guess while I was watching it, I was trying to understand what it was that drew me to her. And I kind of realized it's because she embodies all the things that I feel like I'm afraid to be, but that I want to be for others. And I guess that goes back to like the vulnerability. It kind of has to start with me not being afraid to be honest with other people and honest with myself.
What do you think they will judge you for?
No, anything, everything. It doesn't even have to be like rational. It could just be like, oh, I look crusty today. Like, people are gonna not respect me. Or it could be like, oh, like I'm not funny today. People must think I'm really boring.
So when you're saying this, you're thinking about your circle of friends.
No, anyone.
Oh, anyone. Okay.
Yeah.
But including your circle of friends.
Yeah. Well, I would say my friends I feel the most at ease with. But it's definitely like there are days when even with my friends, I'm like still kind of insecure.
So you say that you feel that it could be anyone and they will be judging you when you're concerned about that.
Yeah.
What would their opinions matter to you? What value does it hold for you?
I don't even know. And I remind myself that in the moment too, of like, it's not really that important what they think of me. Sometimes I'm afraid of getting hurt, like physically someone hurting me, or getting hurt like emotionally. If they're like, if I feel like they're kind of like rejecting me, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Especially if it's someone who I think is like, interesting, who I want to get to know better, and I feel like it doesn't go both ways. I definitely get like afraid of getting embarrassed, of that rejection. But yeah, I don't know.
Can I share something? So it was the time when I realized how selfish I was. It was the time, all this time, I've always said, I'm selfless.
Mhm.
I always think of other people. I always put other people first before of my own happiness. Like, I'm going to do anything and everything to make other people happy. Like, I'm going to please them. And my own happiness will be the last. So at the time when I was trying to separate with Jay, and I think it was my birthday. And Mama has been telling me to just go back to him because of tradition, because of what other people think, because Filipinos very traditional, conservative. You're not allowed to separate. And this is after I have told her already what I have been going through. All the physical, the sexual, the verbal, the mental, the psychological abuse that I have been getting. And I physically got sick. Like, I had to be in the hospital. That was in December. So this was March. It was my birthday. And I just really can't do it anymore. I was ready. This might be too much for you, but just listen to it like a story, okay?
Yeah.
It's like a story. So I was ready to just like commit suicide that day. So I was like, oh, how poignant. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always done it for other people. Like now, I can't do it anymore. So I went to Papa across the street because I was working across the street from him. So I went to him and I said, I can't do this anymore. I called him first. He said, I need to talk to you. And then he goes, what for? I said, for just one last time. Just, I need to talk to you. And then he goes, okay, come over. So I crossed the street. I spoke to him and I said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just want to end it because Mama doesn't want to believe me. She wants me to go back. And if I'm going to go back to Jay, I would rather just kill myself. And then he said some things. He said, well, like about trust and all that. And he just said, look, if there's no trust left in a relationship, then just end it. Just end the relationship. Like, I'm gonna be behind you. Like, whatever you want to do, just I will support you. Forget your mom. Don't even talk to her if you don't have to for the rest of your life. But just don't do what you're thinking, and I'm gonna be behind you. At that point, I don't know what he said, but I realized that ending my life is the most selfish thing I will ever do in my entire life.
Mm.
Because I will end whatever it is that is hurting me, but it will start hurting other people that I love for the rest of their life. So what I thought was a selfless act, so that other people won't have to worry about me, was actually the most selfish thing I could ever think of. And so now, every time I think about things of I'm being selfless, I actually think, am I being selfless or am I being selfish?
Mm.
So there are things when you say, oh, I don't want to share myself. I don't want to be vulnerable because they're going to judge me because, are you being selfless or are you being selfish? Thinking about that. You're selfish because you're protecting yourself, because opening yourself up, being real, being authentic, sharing what you really are, that's selfless. Because regardless of they judge you, you can be hurt. You're open to being hurt, and that's fine. Because if I open up to you, I'm giving my all. I'm giving you myself. I am not protecting myself. I'm not being selfish. I'm not protecting this. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you myself. I'm being selfless because I might be able to help you. I am loving you. I am trusting you. I am giving you my friendship. I'm giving you my love. I'm giving you this. If you judge me, it's okay if I get hurt, but you get me. You get all this because that way I am selfless. I said, and this might be going too much, but I have said before, like, if I love someone, I'm giving you my love. If you love me back, then that's special. I'm just going to give it to you unconditionally, selflessly. If I will make you love me back because I love you, then that's selfish.
Hmm.
If I just love you back, if I just love you and then you love me back, then that's special. Because I'm not requiring you. To require you is selfish. To just love you is selfless. That is when I stopped caring what other people say. If I give you this, you judge me, you don't like me, it means you don't deserve me. And that is fine.
Yeah, that's very, very scary. The thought, I guess. But I know it's true. And it's just a matter of learning how to put it into practice.
If you filter yourself because you are afraid to be judged, you will not flourish.
Yeah.
You'll not be able to soar. You'll not be able to spread your wings. Because you will not be able to fully express yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
If one of your goals is to succeed in whatever it is that you do, you just have to let it go.
It's a lot to think about. Yeah. And I know it's true. And I know there are ways that I filter myself that I'm not even like consciously aware that I'm doing. I feel like I've built up so many walls over the course of so long. I'm not even aware that they're there. And now it's lately been a journey of discovering that there are a lot. And I'm very curious what it looks like without them there obstructing the view.
What would be the first wall that you want to knock down?
I don't know. That's hard. That's hard. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there a different question?
Okay, so you have several walls, you
Mhm.
said. Many walls, you even said.
Yeah.
So on top of your head, can you name 3 or 5?
Sure. I definitely don't like talking about my health. I feel like it just like upsets me. And so I kind of just like ignore the topic. Um, I feel like I have a wall up in terms of I get like social anxiety. Um, I feel like when I'm meeting new people, I tend to be a lot more reserved. I don't know what the wall is that's like preventing me from just being comfortable, but I definitely don't feel like at ease when I meet new people. Um, Creatively, I definitely noticed that I have some walls up in terms of like how I express myself, even. Um, Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I have to do it in a way that makes sense to other people. Um, or like if I, you know, it has to sound good to other people if I'm making music, stuff like that. I don't know. It's hard to identify what the walls are. I feel like that's one of my big issues is knowing that there's like resistance, but not knowing how to identify it and move past it. I really feel like I'm really hoping that it's my ADHD that just like makes it hard to think. Yeah. Because even now, while I'm trying to like introspect, my brain is like turning to mashed potatoes. It's like too much for me. I can't even, it's like completely rejecting this process.